just some reflections on the pictures we're seeing and the absolute bipartisanship in people paying respects today.
Well, he was a great guy. He was easy to work for. I think back then things were different, and we had pretty good relationships with Democrats and got a lot of things done. And I think, the friendship you see for him was pretty legit and pretty genuine. So I've actually seen a lot of old Democratic friends in the church already this morning. So it's kind of nice to see.
Tom, any personal recollections come to mind with you this morning? We've so enjoyed hearing how he was as a person, how he treated those that he worked with, and the incredible, as Carl said, the energy that it took to do things like, going back for Bob Grady and finding old photos after his house had burned down and marking up his Christmas cards and returning them with comments about his kids. Yeah,
I was sitting in the church with Grady, so I knew he was on earlier. He's just an incredibly nice guy. I heard you guys say earlier that he wasn't very emotional. He was very emotional. He was just very modest, and he didn't like to brag. I mean, he got fired up about lots of stuff. And, I worked on a lot of things, including with Bob on the 1990 budget deal, which, was the read my lips, no new taxes issue. He was very engaged, very fired up, but he was convinced it was the right thing to do, and it was the right thing to do. In hindsight, did it hurt a lot 2 years later? Yeah, but I think it put the economy on extremely solid footing for another decade, and put in budget controls that lasted for years and years, and did a lot. I'm a healthcare guy, obviously, and healthcare entitlements, did a lot to fix the Medicare and Medicaid programs and slow the growth rate and make them function better, and he was very involved in all that. And he got very fired about lots of stuff, and he was fun to work with and unbelievably nice. So I think the idea that he was not emotional, I just think he was very modest and very humble, and that probably didn't help too much in the election, but he was an unbelievably nice guy.
Yeah. A lot's been, we've been recollecting the tax hike in recent days, people pointing to something he wrote in his diary, as I'm sure you know. I can't break my read my lips pledge. I'd be totally destroyed if I did. Did he eventually get over that?
Yeah, I think, it's one thing to run for an election. I worked in the 88 campaign and the 80 campaign, and it's another thing to govern. And once he got in there and realized, people forget that the Congress was overwhelmingly dominated by Democrats. He was friendly with a lot of them. He had great relations with all of them. But they weren't going to pass anything, and, we needed to do a significant deficit reduction move, and they were not going to do anything on Medicare or Medicaid or any other entitlement programs or any spending without some modest tax increase. And they wanted to shove it down his throat, and he understood that was the right thing to do. So, at the time, he was very popular, and people forget a year before the election, he was, after the Persian Gulf War, he was running at 80% in the polls, and he knew it was going to be difficult. I'd say we had a pretty bad last year, but that's just politics. But, he also knew it was the right thing to do. And, I worked for him for a long time, and I would say the one theme about him is he always did what he thought was the right thing to do.